Ready Check Radio. Oh yeah, what's up internet? It's Thursday, it's 7 p.m. Eastern, we're here on Ready Check Radio. That means we must be doing the Relic Grind. Ready Check Radio, that sounds dirty. That just...
Only in your mind.
We're doing the Relic Grind. Yeah, Relic Grinding, baby. Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast brought to you by Ready Check Radio every Thursday, 7 p.m. right here on twitch.tv. Chat already sighing. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, do me a favor. Head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. I've got the URL down there. It's ReadyCheckRadio, RAIDEO.com for those of you on Spotify. But if you misspell it, well, spell it the right way. You'll still get there anyway. In the upper right-hand corner, we've got all the socials, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that, Twitch, all of it. Click, follow, subscribe, turn on those notifications, tell your friends. Seriously, spread the word. We're trying to grow. We're doing well. Keep growing. And when we get to 1,000 Twitch followers, Kronos is going to dance. So the faster we can get to that 1,000, Kronos will actually dance with us at the end of an episode of the Relic Grind. Joining me to go through a lot of stuff today, we've got a live letter tomorrow that we're going to prep for and get a little predictions locked in. And then we're going to talk about the future of Final Fantasy XI and what that could hold. That's being sparred by a video from a friend of mine. We'll talk about it when we get there. Spurred, not sparred. They're not fighting. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth, what's up?
Greetings, programs. How you all doing? I got my PvP cigarettes right here. Ready, set to go.
Ready, set to go. Ready, set, radio. Ready, check, radio.
Ready, check.
Also
radio.
On the line, Mr. Adam Lane. Kronos, what's up?
Not much. I got Guardians of the Galaxy beat. I'm going to see Eternals, so I'm ready for the Marvel podcast. Right?
Yeah,
That's
let's
what
go.
we're doing.
Definitely are. God, no, shoot me. Oh, no. I mean, you want to run a Marvel podcast on the channel, go for it. But that'll be one that I'm going to take a hard pass.
You and me, Kronos, we'll do it together.
It'll be the Marvel PvP podcast, dude.
Oh, my God. Talk about putting some things together that'll guarantee I never watch it.
Oh, my goodness.
Just guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it. So, gentlemen, yeah, I mean, we are just a mere 2 weeks away. Well, I mean, what, 2 weeks plus one. Hey, I'm not mean to Marvel. It's just not my thing. Yeah, I'm just kind of blah about, like, comic book hero stuff, whether it's Marvel or, like, I like Batman. That's about it. Everything else, I'm like, yeah, I know who they are. Oh, no, I don't care about their origin. I don't fucking care. Where'd they come from? I don't care. Is Krypton? Yeah, Krypton. Great. What happened on Krypton? I don't care. 2 weeks away, gentlemen. 2 weeks and 1 day, if we're being technical, to the early access of Endwalker. For those of you that have pre-ordered / pre-purchased the expansion or plan to do so in the next 2 weeks. And then, of course, we have like 4 days later or 3 days later, whatever it is, the actual launch of the expansion. Gearing up, we have the final live letter tomorrow night. United States time tomorrow night. It'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. And honestly, gents, like, we don't have a lot of information on what's going to be here. We do know there'll be talk of gathering and crafting. We do know there will be talk of PvP. Presumably, yeah, they'll probably talk about maybe some changes to currently existing PvP, but I would imagine most of the discussion is going to be based on the new mode, like the more casual mode that they're talking about putting in. And then we know system changes, which is pretty interesting for people like us. Like, we like digging into the system changes and stuff like that, but maybe not something of interest to a more casual player. But that's really, Kronos, all we know is going to be in the live letter. So let's start taking it piece by piece. I know there's not a lot to make up predictions on, as like we have for previous live letters, But what do you think gatherers and crafters can expect from tomorrow night's live letter?
I mean, maybe you get like a look into like their continuation of some kind of restoration type deal. I don't know if that's even going to be at the like they haven't said anything about it. So,
Right.
but I assume there's some kind of plan to do something, even if it's not the same, to keep them going. I mean, obviously you'll see the gear, even though we already have the pictures because those are on the site now. So you'll get that, I'm sure. It definitely isn't going to be a 6-hour live letter. I'm pretty sure. I'd bet money on that. But I don't think you're gonna get a ton. I think they'll go over the new gathering changes. They'll probably actually go over what the skills are changing to, since we're losing HQ stuff, which I don't think is gonna. It's just gonna be a net gain, I think, for
Yeah.
gatherers. I don't think they're really gonna lose out on anything by not being able to do that. So
Yeah, and if you watched earlier, I was on Ginger Prime's podcast with Chris and Fusion, and we were talking about kind of the same thing. What can we expect? And I kind of was in the same boat as you, Kronos. Yeah, we're probably going to see what the actual previously used HQ abilities will do now, like because they did say, hey, these are going to change to just influence natural gathering. Or crafting. We'll see probably see some numbers changes, right, Tark? And hey, things used to require this many points to up the HQ crafting chance, but now those points are probably going to be scaled back a little more, not just in the number squish, but also in, hey, you don't have HQ materials to front load a bunch of quality in that crafting to get the quality meter up. So yeah, a little bit of tour there. We did speculate on the same thing you just mentioned, which was you know, some type of rebuilding. And not to say that, you know, the Ishgard restoration is going anywhere. Like, there's a lot of achievements and stuff tied behind there, so I don't expect it to go anywhere. Some achievements are being modified, by the way. They're not going away. Like 20,000, gathering 20,000 HQ items is not going away. That achievement will still be there. It's going to be modified to accommodate for the new system. But like, Tark, if we were going to rebuild, what do we rebuild? Like, where are we doing a restoration?
I have no idea. It's, maybe somewhere on the first that gives us reason to go back there. That'd be fun. I'm not sure what on the first needs rebuilding. Maybe Yulmore needs, you know, that lower level in Yulmore needs some help. Maybe that could be interesting. And maybe that will facilitate housing on the first. That'd be cool. But yeah, overall, this live letter, let's just be frank with it. It's not the sexy live letter. This is going to be pretty dry stuff. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with perception. Like, perception was one of the key stats for high quality, and now there's no high quality. So what is it doing other than maybe showing you hidden items? Maybe they go into that direction with perception. So a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can go a lot of ways. Like, as far because they're still going to be collectibles, right?
Yeah,
so that and maybe even more so now when there's no HQ stuff to be going after. So maybe it plays into that. I want to get your take, Kronos, because I did have 2 possible guesses on potential restorations. So before we give mine, Kronos, what do you think?
I have a feeling one of mine is on here too. I think it's gonna be Garlemald.
That was my first one.
Yeah. I forgot.
That was my first one.
I mean, it looks like crap in every cutscene I've seen. So, like, I mean, that would probably be my guess, considering where the story. Like, I mean, I think no matter where your story predictions are at with like what's going to happen, I think no matter what, Garlemald is going to get like decimated, to some extent. Maybe not like all the way raised to the ground, but I'm sure they're going to need some help building something at some point. That would be my guess. So
yeah, Garlemald was my number 1 guess. My number 1. My number 2, Fusion had brought up, and I didn't even think of this. I obviously we weren't part of the media tour and having beta access or anything, and Fusion was. He said Garlemald isn't very big. He said like it's actually kind of disappointing when you walk through it size wise. So
well,
you know, I don't know, but I'm like, hey, maybe we rebuild it and make it big. You know,
yeah.
My second thing was, who says we have to restore anything? Like, we're going to the moon. Let's build a space station.
It's possible. It's possible.
Let's build a space station that only the Warriors of Light can get to. And, you know, whatever. Just have some fun with it. But yeah, there's going to be something. But we'll see. We'll see. Biodome.
I also think, just to touch on the area thing, I think it's more likely that there's more than one Garlemald area, honestly, than it's just like one small. Like, because you know how you have like.
Well, Fusion was talking about the city itself when he said,
Okay.
you know, hey, this is small, like the Empire Garlemald capital city.
Yeah. Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I don't think he was not referencing the entire zone size.
Okay, yeah, because you could have like a thing where like you have like the four lands or whatever, where it has two.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah. Then we have a PvP, and
Ooh.
some people have speculated Blitzball. No, that's not going to happen,
It's
guys.
not happening.
Please stop. I mean, it
I
might
want
end
it.
up in the game at some point, but
could
this ain't
happen,
it.
just not as PvP. Yeah, no,
This ain't it.
Not like this.
Yeah, this ain't it. So we do know, here's kind of what we do know in a nutshell, though, right, Tarkin? You can remind me if I'm missing anything because, you know, I don't follow the PvP scene. I do. I'm being facetious. But we're smaller scale, you know, than anything we have right now. And more importantly, the classes, the composition, the roles doesn't matter.
Yep.
You're not required to take in a healer and this many DPS and this many tanks and all of that stuff. But really, besides that, we know very little. Like, that's it.
Yeah. No. We know the feast is going away, so they got to replace it with something. I'm hoping the minions that are attached to the feast go somewhere. Yeah, we don't know much about it. I'm hoping it's something accessible.
Well, I mean, I think that's the whole point, right?
Yeah, that is the point.
Reduce queue times and make it accessible.
Accessible for me also means fun and engaging and something I actually want to do.
Oh no, you're out on that one. That's you're you know, I'm
me are both
I
out.
don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun. Like, I'm always interested in watching. Like, I legitimately watched quite a bit of Final Fantasy PvP. I just don't enjoy doing it at all. And there has never really been even a compelling reason for me to want to try Chronos. Yeah, there's rewards, you know, the amounts and these minions and this. But even with minions, I'm like, no. And I said this earlier today. I'm like, and I've said this is nothing new. People that have followed or seen me back on Gamebreaker on XIV Reborn will know that I've always said that it's just there to meet a checkbox. Does your MMO have PvP? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Maybe this will change things. I don't know. But it's not in a good place right now, even for PvP fans. It takes forever to get a match.
Yeah.
Even for people that want to do it, which further incentivize people that are on the fence to not do it, Kronos.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with it. And I agree, like right now it's kind of just a checkbox. There are people that really enjoy it. I don't think Feast is actually that bad, other than the fact that like there's a lot of onus on the healer, which I think is what they're trying to fix. Because if you go into Feast, you're playing two different games if you're a healer or if you're a tank or a DPS. Like, there's so much more stress. I've played both sides of that. I've tried to like top 100 Feast before, and it is fun if you like that kind of like stressful type stuff while you're playing. Like, there's a part like there's fun to that. The queues are awful because the other issue you run into is there's no decay in the system. So once you get to the top, there's no incentive to keep playing. And
yeah,
so
you just park your ass up on top of the board and stay.
Because you can only go down. Like, unless someone comes up close to you in ranking, you have no reason to keep playing, which I think is another issue with like the reward structure, which I think hopefully they're looking at. So I think they're going to try to take stress off healers. They're going to try to look at the reward structure. I think they're just disabling Feast, by the way. I don't think they're like 100% removing it yet. So I don't know what they're going to do with those rewards that come from that yet. But it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I do think there's parts of PvP that are fun. And I do think this is probably going to be the biggest chunk of the live letter is PvP, because I imagine there's going to be a revamp to a lot of stuff, and that goes to
it's
like
because
skills.
they know there's problems with it.
Yeah.
You know, Yoshi P has never been like coy, although we did talk this afternoon about he's walking around with a swagger like he knows something we don't. Like, and he does. He definitely does. But like, I think dude has some mega plans for, 6-1 and beyond that he can't wait to reveal. but like he's just got a swagger about him. I don't know where we're headed, but I am kind of excited about where the hell we go when the Zodiac storyline is over. That's something we'll talk more about next week, our kind of thoughts on the future post 6.0. But just wanted to kind of throw that in here. But Tark, I mean, they know it's in a bad spot. They've never been coy about saying, hey, something's in a bad spot. They've also never been coy about really, really drastically changing things up to make something work. And maybe this does it for PvP.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, tomorrow's a big day for PvP, it looks like. So I won't be tuning in, but I will check it out and find out what's going on. But
you're not even going to watch the live letter. You just don't care about the topics that
I got Bahamut to do tomorrow. So
Gotcha. I thought you were just like, hey, this is a
real
because
there's PvE, okay? I got the PvE.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even like throwing shade and asking that. There is a big portion of the audience that is like, I just don't care about this live letter. To Tark your point earlier, it's not a very sexy live letter.
No.
But you know what? I can't blame them for wanting to get the information out there a couple of weeks ahead of time. And, you know, you're certainly not going to save all of your sexy for 2 weeks before time. You want the sexy out there ahead of time to build the marketing and the hype. So I can't blame them for any of that, even if it's just generally less interesting for me. I have 2 gatherers at max level and 1 crafter. It's always going to be that way for me. I actually really think Final Fantasy XIV has one of the better crafting systems in MMOs, where it actually takes skill and knowledge to craft things. I enjoy doing the gathering and crafting when I am doing it. It's just not a class I like sitting there playing for 8 hours. You know, it's just not me.
Yeah.
Right. It's not my gameplay.
It has a attention span limit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
but last thing, system changes. We have no idea what to expect on this list, Kronos. I'm sure this will probably be, for the 3 of us, the more interesting of the 3 primary topics. I'm sure there'll be like a spoiler here and there, a little pick here and there, like he always does. But systems, I think, is probably the most interesting for us, and probably what we'll be spending the most time on next week after we review the PvP that we find out about tomorrow.
I'm sure we're going to get 15 more minutes of belts and stat squish.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really drilling that point home.
Guys, you aren't getting weaker. You aren't getting weaker.
They just got to really hammer it home over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's math. We'll adjust the numbers. It's okay.
We're almost there. Tarka, are you ready? Like, are you ready? Besides Ultimate, which I know you want to clear Bahamut Ultimate before Endwalker, and then that's cool. But setting that aside, because you guys are still in Prague, you guys are doing pretty well too. I was able to catch 1 or 2 of your streams. You guys keep moving. You guys keep moving.
We've had a little bit of a setback. Our 2 tanks just bowed out. They're like, no, we're done. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But we have 2 people that are triple legends that are willing to help out. So we're increasing our experience, and I feel like we're going to have some major progress this upcoming week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Besides that, are you ready for Endwalker? Is there like anything in game you absolutely wanted to get done and maybe aren't going to make it, or something you're still working on? Or is it just, I'm focused on Ultimate and doing some side stuff, just trying to tick the clock down 15 more days?
Well, I have a Endwalker preparation video that should be coming out tomorrow. Just need to get some B-roll done on that. But in game, trying to get 2 of the 3 healer relics done. Also trying to get my Zadnor duels done, and hopefully get the mount for all the field notes.
Nice. What about you, Kronos? I mean, you've had what you really wanted done for a while now, but any side stuff you want to mop up before Endwalker?
I just finished gouging my eyes out hunting for like 2 months straight. So,
did you get your mount?
No, I still have to get some S ranks, but the A ranks are done.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that they don't put a new hunt mount in for Endwalker. I'm really crossing my fingers for that. Other than that,
that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, like, I have a list ready. Like, I'm gonna make sure I have like a Wondrous Tales ready to go for like the classes I want to level up, stuff like that. Like, just some small stuff. Other than that, I'm just itching to play.
Having it ready for turn in and all the usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, besides that type of stuff, which, you prep the day or two before and get ready to do. The only thing I really wanted to get done that isn't done yet, everything else I'm done and ready, is I wanted to cap off my fishing dailies rep. It's 7 and just need to, it's like 7.5. It's like halfway to being sworn or allied or whatever the hell you want to call it. So yeah, I got my mount, I got my minions. I haven't been doing the dailies every day for a very long time now. It's just kind of like, well, yeah, I'm on, and before I log off, I guess I'll do this. So I just got to finish, and that's, it doesn't mean anything. It's just capping off the rep. So if I don't I have the time. Like I've got 16 days, 15 days or whatever before. And I'm over halfway there, 3 dailies a day, 60 rep each. Like you could do the math. I have plenty of time. It's just, will I actually do it? I don't know. I would like to have it finished. Everybody else is blood sworn or allied, so want to cap
you're
that
ahead of
last
me.
one off.
I'm still working on Stormblood daily.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I've always actually Shadowbringers was the only one that I ever fell behind on at all. And that was because I just got really tied up with stuff, and so yeah, I played Final Fantasy XIV when I could for a little while there, and that was it. But every other, like Heaven's Word, Stormblood, like all of that stuff, I boom every day. Like the earliest you could make sworn and allied, I was sworn and allied.
And you gotta get it before the reset, so you get the double, so you get the mount.
Exactly. Well, I was the minion, but yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I have the mounts is because I was like, well, I mean, I went this far for the minion already.
Yeah.
I might as well get the mount. So if we're all ready, let's check in with Hironobu Sakaguchi, who is also ready, believe it or not. The dude's a beast. The dude is a beast. A beast. He is ready for Endwalker. So if you've been following our show or Sakaguchi-san on Twitter, you know that he has just recently jumped into Final Fantasy XIV. He got the A Realm Reborn stuff done in about 2 weeks, which is we would all say the slog portion of catching up. So he got that done in 2 weeks. Then he blazed through Heaven's Word in like 2 days. Literally like 2 or 3 days. Finished it. Stormblood and Shadowbringers, they were about 1 week each. 58 years old. He is ready for Endwalker. He is ready. Now he's just enjoying himself, doing all kinds of different side quests and leave quests and all the stuff that he bypassed while he was blowing through the main story, Tark. The dude is ready. The dude is ready.
35 days to go from nothing to ready for Endwalker as far as main story. Yeah. That's insane.
That's too cool.
For a man that wanted to retire and now he's like, oh my God, this game is so good, putting so much time into getting MSQ caught up, and then going on the record saying, I'd like to maybe help out with some quests or do something with Endwalker. Like,
right?
Testament to what we're playing and what we're experiencing, that the creator is sidestepping retirement possibly to help out with this game. It's awesome. I
mean, a lot of people, including myself, would love to see him come back, Kronos,
yeah.
and even if it's on 14 or if it's on 16, because they're all under Yoshi P's umbrella right now. Would love to see him involved in some way. Now, obviously, we don't have anything official in any capacity on this, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah, hopefully it's like something kind of substantial, like something, not just someone on side quest.
Not like a little tribute. Hey, do a quest.
I do find it a little funny because I think he did it really fast, but I think it's funny how people are, because I'm telling you right now, Endwalker is gonna be beat by Sunday for me. I'm gonna be done Sunday. So like I don't know, maybe I just like me and Sakaguchi are like same breed. I don't know, but like I'm at Endwalker's gonna be done on Sunday for me. I got Friday off work. I'm playing the MSQ and I'm not stopping until I
so it'll be probably done. I don't think it'll be done by Sunday for me. But I do have off work for it. I'm gonna be streaming it on MMO Bomb on Friday during the day, and then jumping to Ready Check Radio and You know, hey, sorry, I'm going to be playing the MSQ. If you don't want spoilers, so you don't want to watch, I understand. Stop by, say hi, you know, and move on. That's cool. That's totally cool, and I respect it. But, yeah, so I'm going to be blazing through it, but I'm going to be taking my time. I don't have any got to get it done by Sunday target.
Yeah. I mean, I have a FOMO problem. It's okay. I understand. That's just me.
How is it a FOMO problem? You're not going to be missing out. It's right there. You have your sub paid. You bought the expansion.
The faster you get to 90 and finish the MSQ, the faster you can start farming mounts for the things that they put into the game when the game drops.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna be at the extreme trial. Sunday afternoon, I will post a screenshot of me starting the extreme trial, the first one. I guarantee it. I promise you.
We will see. We will see. You all baked in? Your plans are ready, Tark?
Yeah, set to go. I have plenty of time. So starting with Sage, gonna level that up through Bozja, some dungeons here and there to mix it up.
Oh, wait. So you're not gonna level your main first to complete MSQ. You're gonna catch the Sage up and then do MSQ with the Sage?
Yep. Gonna go through.
You're gonna do what I did with the Red Mage when it came out.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Hopefully be done with everything by Sunday, maybe Monday. Just gonna go hardcore at it. It's gonna be awesome.
I think he's pulling a little rank on you, Kronos. He's like, "You gonna have it done by Sunday? Cool. I'm gonna start levels behind you and have it done by Sunday too."
You got the Valor.
You go through Bozja. You go through Bozja. You can have that to level 80 in the span of like half a day. So
yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
Do you have your Valors and stuff ready to go? Or
yeah, that's part of what I'm working on with my Zadnor content catch up. So I'm 261. So I'm hoping for a couple more DPS ones to get up, but should be good.
Speaking of talking to Ginger Prime earlier today, my man's nuts. My man is nuts. He's a huge Final Fantasy XI fan, just like myself, right?
Sure.
He put up a video this past week where he talks about the Final Fantasy Online convergence, as he puts it. We do know a few things, right? If you are a Final Fantasy XI fan. We hit the 20th anniversary this coming May. We do know that a few years ago it was a big deal that they secured funding to ensure that they could make it to the 20th anniversary. We do know that they don't develop huge pieces of new content for the game. They haven't for a while, and they really don't plan to at all for a few reasons. Obviously, money, right, would be one. It is a company and a business. But two is development for the game is still done on PS2 dev kits, which are a rare commodity anymore. And they really don't want to break out or break the remaining ones that they were able to secure. And then you have the actual developers, right? It is old technology to be there's a fly in this room. Old technology to be developing on in languages that you may really not have a need for much anymore. And it's not sexy as a new developer to go work on this project and have to learn old school stuff to develop that has no practical application for you when you're done with the project. Why not just go work on 14 or go work on 16 or go work on Square's next thing? So there's a lot of reasons why 11 maybe doesn't see as much love anymore. But we do know that they also have a big announcement of some type planned for the 20th anniversary. Something that they've been working on and have teased this announcement for a number of years now. And it was not related to the mobile version that Nexon was working on that then got canceled. So it's something separate to that. They really haven't given any hints on what this is. So in his video, he starts talking about what if Yoshi P oversees it all now, right? It's all part of Business Creative 3, or Creative Business 3. They do 11, they do 14, they do 16, they do some of the Dragon Quest stuff, but that doesn't apply. I think Builders, right? Something like that. yeah, we. I guess, and as much as I love Final Fantasy and of 11, and I love Ginger Prime to death, he's a very good friend of mine. I want him to be right. I want him to be like 100% stupid right, and just be like, you pulled it out of your ass, but you were right, and thank you. But he's kind of got this theory that since Yoshi P has said things like, well, it wouldn't make sense to call it Final Fantasy XIV forever. You know,
Sure.
the numbering doesn't make sense at a certain point. And he likes hardcore old school MMO games, but there probably isn't too much of a market for that anymore. He thinks that there's a possibility, Tark, that we see something where these two titles, 11 and 14, merge. Now, how deep the merge goes, he speculates a number of different possibilities. One being where some of the world that we have not seen in Final Fantasy XIV, the clouds are whisked away from the map, and we see Sandoria and and Bastok
All
and
of
Windhurst and
on the other side of the
on the other
the
side
planet.
of it. And then he has taken that from that extreme all the way down to, hey, could you just integrate one payment for both services?
That would
With
be
a
awesome.
few different things in between. I think he's nuts. I'd love for him to be right, but I think he's nuts. I think he's absolutely nuts. And I told him that on his podcast today. You're nuts. I want you to be right, but you're crazy. What do you think as we head into the 20th anniversary? What is the future of Final Fantasy XI? Does it intersect with 14 in any meaningful way besides, nods via Blue Mage coming from lands that we don't know about and stuff like that?
Well, I appreciate the hints through Blue Mage and stuff like that. I don't see them ever merging together into one MMO. I would like to maybe see a Vana'diel, a world reborn, if you would, and then definitely have some sort of payment structure that allows you access to both games. I think that's something that's sorely needed for Square Enix, especially if they make new MMOs or new multiplayer games. Something a Square Enix ecosystem, I think, would be awesome for them to do. But he goes a little far with it. He is crazy. That'd be awesome. A lot to talk about if they were all merged together. But that's just cray cray. So
yeah, and we've seen Phantasy Star Online 2 when it came out into the West. A year later, had Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis come out, and you are able to access both games from their respective clients. You can run to an elevator or a teleportal and warp essentially between the two games. Now, that has led to some tech issues, but let's set that aside for a minute. Let's just say, hey, that tech works. 100%, and Square could also do it. And it's also easy to say, well, they develop on PlayStation 2 dev kits, Kronos. Why don't they, upgrade it to different? Yeah, okay, you could. Yeah, you definitely could to get yourself off of the pit. The problem is that's resource and time intensive, and it's a company at the end of the day. Is it really worth sinking the money into doing that? Whether it's to merge the two games or just to merge the chat clients for another thing that Brian said was, what if your friend list and chat clients were interspersed in between the two games, and you could
a little
be in
bit of
11.
a BattleNet thing going on.
Yeah,
there.
I could be in 11 and talking to Tarkoth in 14 and things like that. Now, I know you're not hugely fond of Final Fantasy XI, Kronos, but what's your take on where that game goes?
So I guess first off, I think he should have been wearing a tinfoil hat in that video. I think it would have been
Oh,
hilarious.
big time.
I think he's a bit nuts, but like I don't, I understand that he was more making a video of like things that he wants, and it's understandable.
Yeah. It was, to be clear, yeah, you're right, and we have said it, but to be clear, this was all speculative on his part, and like, if I could get what I want, it would be this. What do I think's more likely? Maybe this stuff, but I'm not sure.
I think there are some things that are feasible. So I guess I'll say a couple things. So number one, I think that it's very possible. I mean, we have like Evilise and stuff in 14. I think it's very possible there could be a Vana'diel in 14. I don't think it's going to be the Vana'diel that maybe you guys want, but it could be
Right.
like an homage
Sure.
to
Or
to
thousands of years later type deal.
Yeah, right. And so I think that's very possible. I mean, we already have a couple nods to it, right? The Blue Mage, and then we have like the 11 quests where you kind of talk to what's her name? I don't even remember her name. Ayame, that's her name, right?
4
Uh,
lords, a little
Shantoto's
bit there,
been in
too.
14 as well.
And Shantoto, yeah. So I think like you could easily just like make that work. Plus, like I mean, 14. Sometimes they don't even care; they just make it work anyways. Like look at Omega. But like so, I think that that's possible. I would the thing that he brought up that I think would be really cool, and Tarkin, you have touched on it. If you can somehow make it where my sub just works for 11, like and
Yeah.
somehow put it in the launcher. Now the issue with that is right now we already have a website for 14 that doesn't really function properly. They need to fix that first. So if they could fix that and then somehow like go from there to like at least make it where like I can launch and install the game from like the same place and be convenient, I would probably give 11 a try again.
Yeah.
Just because it's already there, you know?
Yeah,
Like, I
so
could just
here's
install it.
Same boat.
in Brian's video, he does mention that at one point the payment system was linked. And I brought up on his
Yeah, a little
show
bit.
today that I said, hey, I know you probably know this and you were just trying to keep it short for your video. But in the interest of making sure everybody that maybe doesn't know understands what happened, they did not actually link the 11 and 14 subscription payment systems.
Mhm.
One is through Play Online for 11, and one is through Sqaure Enix for 14. And
Yeah.
they have two totally different payment processes and schedules. All they did in the past, and this was even this was version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV, was if you linked your Play Online account to your Square Enix account, they gave you a couple bucks off of Final Fantasy XI for like 3 months, and you got the Hermes shoes in Final Fantasy XIV. So even that payment system isn't linked. And as recently as a year ago, when asked about this on Destructoid, the 11 team said the system that processes subscriptions for 14s is separate from 11s, and it would be difficult to accommodate for something like that immediately. We did share with the 14 team the interest that there seems to be from 11 players to have this type of dual subscription service, though. So even as recently as a year ago, not looking likely, but they have shared that, just like you said, Kronos, I'd be more apt to, hey, what am I paying? I'm paying 12 a month, and I can pay 15 a month and get access to both. You know what? Fine, sure. Yeah, I'll give you the extra $3 and go check it out.
Yeah, I just wish that like maybe they did, even if like you have to link your account and then you just kind of give me like a discount, I guess. Like you basically just kind of make it free or something, or maybe it's free for like 3 or 4 months or something. I would try it if as long as it's in the same client. And I think that's going to be another problem too.
Oh, that's a huge problem.
Because I've tried. I played 11. I did log in, and that was an adventure, man. And people say that like getting your 14 account to work and everything is an adventure now, and it is.
Yeah.
But like 11's a whole nother adventure to get that thing working.
It's not as bad now. It's not as bad now. The Play Online is basically taken out of the equation there. But it's still a dicey proposition. And here's the other thing, Tark, that I want to get your take on, though, is as a Final Fantasy XI guru, nut, whatever the hell you want to call me, right? I don't want the current Final Fantasy XI. And I don't think a lot of people that are in my boat that played 11 for years, have played 14 for years, and would love to be able to play both of them in one client or whatever you want to do with it, it's not the current version of 11 that I would want. The current version is very, very different than the nostalgia we have. It is not as challenging a game as it once was. It is not as demanding of your time as it once was. The introduction of the trust system, the level cap increase to 99 and everything has negated a lot of the previous nostalgia that one may have. Not to say that I haven't enjoyed all of that content. I certainly have. But it's not as hard as it once was. If I were going to see 11, I'd want to see it in a cap level 75 cap era. You know,
so
Chains
you
of
want a
Chromathia,
classic WoW
Treasures
kind
of
of
Outer
experience.
Almost. And Niabari said in chat earlier, and I didn't want to bring it up until this point because this kind of goes with what my thoughts were too. Niabari says, I think we get a resurrection of the Xbox 360 client that runs on the Xbox One series. That's possible. That's definitely possible. Where I think a big announcement comes into play, I think a big announcement could be something like they're putting it on the cloud, which would make it a lot more accessible. Yoshi P, we already know, doesn't really have an interest in doing Final Fantasy XIV Classic servers, but he might have an interest in doing 11 Classic servers. Exactly what I'm talking about, where, hey, let's bundle something up and give you this. Or we may not see it in the West, but they are taking Dragon Quest X offline and making an offline version in the East.
And they need to bring
Is that something that they could potentially also then do for Final Fantasy XI? I know in years past, in interviews, the team has said that would feel like a very different experience for them, and maybe not the experience that they feel would be appropriate or that people would enjoy. But is that a possibility? I don't know. I kind of lean towards, at best, an offline version or a classic version. I can't go and be like, 11's going to be in 14. I think that's just nutty. I think, although technically, yes, it could all be done, I don't think the resources and time investment is going to be viewed as being financially worth it, Tark.
I guess it's all possible, and we won't know until the announcements and whatnot. But what I would like to see is kind of a classics version, but with the enhancements. I don't think you can go back to as hardcore as it was and as time demanding as it was, and it be something that's really accepted by the general audience. They want people to be in the game. I think they need to keep those enhancements like the trust system and stuff, and just release the content as it comes out to experience the game sort of how it was when it initially launched. You go back to the way it actually was, and that's just nostalgia. And I don't think you're going to get a lot of people that are going to want to play that in this day.
Kronos, you're kind of shaking your head all over the place on this one.
I kind of agree with Tark. I think you want to get more people in, right? And if you take it back, I think, like, what's the average age of like a Final Fantasy XI player right now? Probably like my age or your age, Mike, I would assume.
Yeah.
Somewhere in
probably
between
40s,
there.
yeah.
So most of those people probably work a 9 to 5, if I had to guess. I don't think they're going to want to spend 8 hours killing a crab or something. So, like, I think it's more likely you want to keep some of them on. I do understand the nostalgia big time. I understand. Like, I don't have the nostalgia for it at all just because I didn't play it. But I definitely have nostalgia for other games like that. I just think it'd be hard to market that. And to the Xbox point too, it's like, how many people are really going to buy Final Fantasy XI on the Xbox Series S? Like, I know you would, but I know you would, Mike. I know you would. But like, I just don't know if there's really a market there for that. Like, that's really my issue with it. So it's like,
and I think the last thing they need to do right now, by the way, is bring Final Fantasy XI to the Xbox and still not have directly answered the question on when 14 is coming to the Xbox.
True, yeah, that would actually be really weird. I think, like we touched on it a little bit, I think you want to somehow leverage the people that play Final Fantasy XIV. And that's why I think if you could get it in the same launcher somehow, even if it's the same game, you'll at least get people to try it. I would try it.
So here's the thing. Like, I don't sub to Final Fantasy XI all the time. And this has been for the last, I don't want to say when 2.0 launched, because I was still sub to 11.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say just slightly pre-Heaven's Word is when I stopped subbing to Final Fantasy XI and would just pop back in for a month here and there, right? The last time I subbed to 11 was probably about 5 or 6 months ago. I played it for 2 or 3 weeks, got some more trusts, just like go fart around in the game.
Mm-hmm.
If they put it, just like you're saying, if they just put it in the same launcher and tied it to one subscription payment and said, hey, and I'm going to use generic pricing here, not like legacy and all that. Forget that for a minute. $15 a month gets you Final Fantasy XIV. $18 a month gets you 14 and 11, and they're both in the same launcher. Guess who just got my $3 extra a month every single month now versus $15 now and nothing for 5 or 6 months, and then maybe $15, here and there.
Yep.
No doubt.
I don't think it would go all the way up to $20 for crying out loud.
Right. I was going to say, here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be that cheap. Like, I don't think they would make it that cheap. But if they did, it's a no-brainer. At $20, I think you're right, Tark. I think it's still a no-brainer for me. And you want to grow the game, but realistically, you're not going to grow this game. at this point.
Yeah.
Your growing is done. But what you can do is you can grow your players, to Kronos's point, by snagging some of those 14 players that have friends like me that are like, Kronos, pay the extra fucking $5 and get in here with us. You know, or pay the extra $7 and get in here with us. You're always on 14 anyway. We know you're just farming them out. Get over here and level with us.
Right.
You know, that's the growth point. So I think they certainly can do it. It's just resources do they want to put it in there. But does that count, Tark, at the end of the day? If they said 20th anniversary, Final Fantasy XI, we're now bootable by the Square Enix launcher from Final Fantasy XIV, and we've bundled up the subs. Is that
Awesome.
the big announcement that you, as a Final Fantasy XI fan for a long time, that you've been told for 2 years, there's going to be a big announcement as we close in on 20 years? Is that big enough? Is that, in your mind, a big announcement?
No, and for me, not being in that, if that was the only announcement, I wouldn't do it. They need to make, like a classic server or a remaster, something that excites me for.
Oh, it
that
ain't
game.
getting remastered. I mean, I wish, but it ain't getting remastered.
And that's where I was saying, Vanadil, a world reborn, and then kind of go classic mode and release content and expansions in a cadence, and then kind of redo that with servers every once in a while. That alone would not persuade me to come back. They got to do something in addition to.
Kronos, does that count as a big announcement for you? As being
mean,
somebody that couldn't care less about it, actually.
I think it's like not. I think you're right. I think it's not big enough, but I do think it's big in the sense of if you still play the game now, think of how many people you would have to play the game with you now. Like I guarantee you a crap that like what have we been complaining about the card game forever, right, Mike? It's like they don't advertise within their own crap. Like, could you imagine if we saw a card on the live letter? Like Yoshi P just holds up a card. You know how many people see that? Like, just putting the game in the launcher and having the ability to tie it. And if you throw in like say like for your regular, like if I already have a subscription to Final Fantasy XIV, if you're like, hey, you can play this game for free for a month, and if you like it, here's a bundle that you can like now pay $17 or $20. I guarantee you get people. I guarantee it. Like and if you want more people to play your game, now the thing is like at that point like then they'd have to judge like do you add more content to it? Is it sustainable? There's like a lot of other questions.
And that was my whole point on this. It's a tough, when I talked about this earlier, while I thought a launcher and a combined thing is a great idea, at the end of the day, it is a hard sell when you say, Kronos, would you like access to a game we're no longer updating?
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter if there's 4,000 hours of content there already for you because you've never played. It is still a hard sell to sell somebody an MMO and say, by the way, we're not making any content for this anymore. That does become a little bit of a sell, or a little bit of a hard sell. Let us know what you think about it. What is Final Fantasy XI's big announcement closing in on the 20th anniversary in May? I'm Mr. Eager Beaver watching. I love it. In fact, I'm probably, because I've talked about it for like a week now with various people and on a couple different shows, probably going to resub. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, Endwalker's in 2 weeks, don't resub. Endwalker's in 2 weeks, don't resub. Don't resub. Don't do it, Mike. Don't do it, Mike. Let's slide over and wrap up with some other Square Enix news. Hey, gentlemen. Hey, remember when Marvel's Avengers went ahead and said, hey, we're never going to sell XP boosts and stuff like that in the shop? And then they went ahead and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and sell XP boosts in the shop. And we blasted them on this show for doing that.
Yep, I remember that as well.
And called them liars because that's what they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they walked that back.
Yes.
They walked that back. I'm sure you're stunned. I'm sure you're stunned. They released an announcement on Twitter after like a month of silence where they said nothing about getting lambasted for this decision. They said nothing. Then they took to Twitter to say, we apologize for not responding sooner to your concerns about the addition of paid consumables in the marketplace. We introduced them as an option for an evolving player base. What?
Devolving player base. Devolving.
What? Your player base isn't evolving. It's leaving.
Yeah.
It's leaving. And I hate to be critical about something. It really, like, I'm not one of those guys that likes to just bash up on a game, because in my brain, being a software engineer, there are people behind this game. And I don't want to see them hurt by putting passion into something and not having it well received. But, call it like you see it sometimes. It's not an evolving player base. It's a decreasing player base. And we did not see them as pay to win, since they don't offer power directly. Nobody was lambasting you for them being pay to win. They were lambasting you for saying you weren't ever going to do that and then doing it. After considering your feedback, we've decided that by the end of today, this was a few days ago, we will remove Heroes, Catalysts, and Fragment Extractors for purchase. They'll continue to be earnable rewards, and those already owned are still usable. We hope that this can be the first step in rebuilding your confidence in us as a team. It continues to be our goal to make the very best game possible. Thank you for being part of the Marvel's Avengers community. Not a good look. Not a good look, Tark.
Rebuilding confidence. They've needed been rebuilding confidence since the launch, and then they're going to make these decisions that just absolutely baffle me. This game can't be shut down soon enough, in my opinion. I read an article, and I didn't put in the show notes, about how Square Enix made the mistake of giving Crystal Dynamics this game because they had no experience in games as a service. It just shows me that they got
so
a big
actually
disconnect.
That link, not to the article, but to
there?
probably what the article was sourcing as the idea for that headline. I don't know where you got it, what site or what the headline was, but Square Enix did release its annual report just a few days ago. Now, this is different than the financials that we get every quarter, which we are expecting Square's to come in this weekend. We already have Blizzards. We already have EAs. We wrote about them all on mmobomb.com. You can check out Jason Winter's tremendous writing on all of that stuff. EA and their NFTs, and Blizzard and the Overwatch 2 and Diablo delays into 2023. You check that all out on mmobomb.com. The annual report is basically reporting on last year, the fiscal year that ended in March of this year. And it's just the glossy, 40-page booklet that they can toss out to potential investors and stuff like that, where they very high level summarize anything. They had this to say in the annual report about Marvel's Avengers. I would also note that Marvel Avengers, by the way, I should attribute to the correct person. This is Yosuke Matsuda, president of Square Enix. I would also note that Marvel's Avengers was an ambitious title for us in that we took on the games as a service model. We overcame a variety of unexpected difficulties in the final phase of the game's development, including needing to transition to work from home due to the pandemic. We were able to surmount these challenges and release the game, but it has unfortunately not proven as successful as we would have liked. Nonetheless, taking on the games as a service model highlighted issues that we are likely to face in future game development efforts, such as the need to select game designs that mesh with the unique attributes and tastes of our studios and development teams. While the new challenge that we tackled with this title produced a disappointing outcome, we are certain that the games as a service approach will grow in importance as gaming becomes more service-oriented. How we go about creating new experiences by incorporating this trend into our game design is a key question that we will need to answer going forward. So if you wondered if Square Enix was going to get more into games as a service, the answer is absolutely yes, just in case for some reason you were doubting it. And Tark, to what you were just talking about, they kind of slam Crystal Dynamics here for not being the team for this game.
A little thrown under the bus, yeah.
And I think it's unjustified. I think it's absolutely unjustified. I think that the person under the bus is Square Enix on this one. You chose them.
Exactly.
You chose them. They didn't like, hey, pick me, pick me. We've never done a games as a service or a looter shooter or a looter grabber, stabber, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Grabber, stabber.
That's
Looter
Jason
brawler.
Winter's term. I love it. Love it. You picked them. And when we first finally saw that this was a games as a service, Tark, we talked on this show about they've never done anything remotely like this. Like, this is way out of the wheelhouse for Crystal Dynamics.
and it makes me wonder, hopefully, Babylon's Fall and Platinum Games, they're the right fit for that. So this has been a big learning experience for Square. Unfortunately, they've really missed the mark overall with their choice. I agree with them that maybe Crystal Dynamics was the right choice, but yeah, the buck stops with them. They're the ones that put the IP and the project in their hands.
Kronos, they are finally releasing Spider-Man at the end of this month. For PlayStation owners, and a new raid and the new level or new power cap and everything like that. But Spider-Man, November 30th. Finally, over a year from launch, that pre-order bonus, just cash it in, baby.
Nice. Very good.
I'm just hoping it makes it where I don't have to hear about this game anymore. Can they just cut it off after this? They've made, that's their last promise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, their last contractual obligation, right?
Like I think it's just to go back to the other point just for a second. Square Enix needs to take fault for the fact that you got the Avengers IP and you tried to turn it into a game as a service. I think that was a mistake from the go.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get into that when I talk about Guardians here in a minute. But like, I just don't think you do that. I think that was a mistake. But at least they're finally coming through on like Spider-Man. Better late than never, I guess. I thought Claw was already in the game. Shows you how much I know. Like I thought he was part of the Black Panther thing. So is the raid new?
Yes.
Yes, it's separate.
Okay, so it's like just a new fight, even though like he already has a fight in the game.
No idea.
Okay. I was just making sure I understood it correctly. Okay, that's all. So, yeah, I'm just like as a Marvel fan and a person who likes Square Enix games, just I'm ready to stop talking about this game.
You're finally getting Spider-Man, PlayStation owners.
Yeah.
State of play, gentlemen. We didn't talk about it much because we did Final Fantasy Jeopardy last week, but I did want to come back and circle back a little bit because we did have the Star Ocean, the Divine Force reveal. I'm a Star Ocean baby too. I love it. It is very, Phantasy Star Online and Star Ocean look very similar and have through many, many, many years now. But we have a trailer. We've got some screenshots of it. We've got confirmation about the action. The combat is going to be a bit faster than maybe you're familiar with in previous Star Ocean entries. The ability to control your alternate party members when you need to. So sounds to me very Final Fantasy VII Remake-ish, where you're bouncing back and forth between the characters, which we've kind of seen that before in some Star Ocean titles. I was very disappointed with the last one. Faithlessness was just really not my cup of tea. So I'm like cautiously optimistic, Tark, about Star Ocean. I love the trailer. I'm going to show the trailer, and while you're talking, I'm going to buzz through some screenshots that are available on the website and on Twitter as well. I'm looking forward to it, but I also have a little bit of pessimism because I was looking forward to the last one and got severely kind of crapped on with that one.
Yeah, I got some pessimism with it too. When I first saw this, because I did this live, my first thought was, okay, this looks a little bit like Xenoblade. It got some Phantasy Star vibes here. The character models didn't really hit me. The environments looked great. And then the voice acting was like, what's going on with the voice acting? I don't. But as far as the previous entry, yeah, they need to nail this one. Otherwise, this IP may find the back of a dark drawer or a vault and just not be seen for quite a while. So they need to nail this one. I'm cautiously optimistic, but we'll see.
Kronos, how you feel about Star Ocean?
I think when we went through like stuff that we wanted to see revived, this was like months ago. I think I said Star Ocean.
Yep.
So I am excited for it. I really like the first 3 games, not so much the ones after that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping.
Here's a city for you that looks a lot like Central City in PSO2 New Genesis.
So I'm hoping
an awful lot.
Yeah.
I do agree with Tark though. I think some of the character models look like they're on drugs, and like the voice acting needs to be touched up a little bit. But I'm hoping it plays good and I can ignore some of those things, so it'll be fine.
Right. Here's Dalamud crashing into the. Oh wait.
It does actually look a lot like that. Yeah.
No, this is something else. That's something else. I'm hopeful for it. We'll cross our fingers. We'll see next year. James Lockwood, when he sent me this promo stuff, was like, "Hey, just promise me Star Ocean's going to be good." And I was like, "I can't, James. I can't.
Can't.
I can't.
Swear.
Hey,
to
remember that rumor we talked about from the GeForce leaks that had Final Fantasy Tactics in it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either of you caught this prior to the show notes, but there is a listing for the actual product that was found on instantgaming.com. Now, that doesn't necessarily by itself mean anything, right? Retailers are the ones that make these listings, and they may think, hey, this is going to be a thing, and so we'll be ready in advance. That way we can get all the traffic when everybody else isn't ready. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but we do have kind of box art there, a title, a release date of 2023 sometime for Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster available there. And then, to further the GeForce rumors that GeForce unequivocally said, no, we made these things up, Eidos Montreal has been doing some playtesting and sending out surveys. Question on the survey, question 11 reads, have you ever played any game from the Final Fantasy Tactics series? And then 12 or 11B basically asks, which of these have you played if you answered yes? And has 4 or 5 games. Then they say, have you ever played any game from the Ogre Battle series?
Oh.
And the same sub-question. Then they say, have you ever played any game from the Fire Emblem series? Now, I don't know if you recognize a trend in the the 3 games that are being asked about there and the types of games that those might be, including one that directly references tactics. But I think, Eidos Montreal, I gotta believe, isn't just gonna bust out and be like, we're making a tactics game. This would come from, Papa Square Enix, right? Hey, we want you to make this. We want you to make a tactics game. And I think if you're Eidos Montreal, you say, cool, can it be Final Fantasy Tactics? Do you want to really just make your own and have to push a tactics-based game out under the Square Enix name and have it not be Final Fantasy Tactics right now, Kronos? That feels terrible, I think.
Ask Project Triangle how they feel. I don't know.
Good point. Good point.
I'm hyped for this, obviously. I think it gives a little bit more validity to the FF9 stuff, too. We'll see. It's nothing's guaranteed yet, but I just hope they don't mess it up. That's really my only hope. That it still plays.
Don't screw it up.
Yeah. It's one of those games, man. It's one of those games where you have to be really careful about how you do this. I think
I get you, brother. I get you. It's why I'm the most cynical dude when it comes to Chrono Trigger being remastered. I'm just leave it alone. Just leave that one alone.
Chrono Trigger alone.
Leave that one alone. Go do Chrono Cross. Go do Chrono Cross.
Yes,
great game. Awesome. Would be an awesome remaster, and you don't have to worry about really screwing up a timeless classic. What else we got here? We're running a little late, but that's fine. Kronos, you did complete, I saw on Twitter, Guardians of the Galaxy. You are done, or Facebook, one of the two, I don't know. Want to give a mini synopsis and final review? Give it a little score for the viewers?
Yeah, it's actually extremely good. Much better than I thought. I was kind of going in thinking, obviously, everybody's low on it, after Avengers, right? So, probably bar is very low, but I think it far exceeds. If I had to give it a score, I guess probably somewhere 8.5 or something. It's the writing is extremely good. If you like MCU writing, this is better than some movies, I think. And I actually hope that they turn this into a script at some point, for some kind of Guardian. Maybe it's Guardians 3, I don't know. But it's very interesting. The characters feel very good. I ran into some bugs and stuff, but nothing that really frustrated me that much. Just you'll clip into some things from time to time, and it's a bit frustrating. But just how you solve the puzzles with all the party, how the party members work, is very simple but effective. And then just the banter and stuff is very good. As a Marvel fan, I just really appreciate the nods to stuff and how it actually feels like you're playing a comic book. So it's kind of nice.
Q in chat saying to her understanding one of the comic book writers was actually involved in the game script.
Makes sense. Yeah.
By the way, here's a neat feature, and I know Neobari will love this after what Neobari was talking about earlier. Did you know if you play the Dragon Quest X offline version and you beat that game, you could then import that character into Dragon Quest X online at level 70. That's a really, really, really nifty feature. I'd like either of these games to be in the West, please. Either of them.
Just give me the offline one. So I can
I'll settle for
experience it.
one at this point. Let's slide over and do games. That's the other show. That's the other show.
That's the other one.
That's the other one. On Saturdays, 7 p.m. Gaming Gumbo right here on Ready Check Radio. Let's slide over and do Love It or Leave It. Niabari sighing. I know, right? Niabari, I think I've known Niabari for many years now. We're online friends, and I just feel like that dude's my spiritual brother. I just there's a connection there. There's a connection. I'm like, I like this. He's like, I like this. He's like, I hate this, and I'm like, I hate that too. Like, there's a connection there. This is Love It or Leave It. This is the segment of the show we wrap up with every week where I give you one thing Square Enix related. Could be a game, could be a feature in a game, a press release, an action they've taken, anything even tangentially related to Square Enix, because it's my damn show and I'll pick whatever the hell I want to. Thank you very much. And I ask all the hosts, love it, want more of it, leave it, cast it aside. And I can't think of a more appropriate, now that the rumors are just there. They're still just rumors, but there's a lot of them.
A lot of smoke.
I want you to finally lock it in, Tark. Love it or leave it, a Final Fantasy Tactics remake.
It's so much smoke that there's got to be a fire, right? I mean, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. I love it. I want it. I need it in my life. Don't mess with the mechanics, how the game works. Just give it a fresh coat of paint. That's all it needs. The game itself is awesome. Just a fresh coat of paint. I love it. May have more of it.
Kronos.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times on here. I think I really like tactical RPGs. Final Fantasy Tactics, like the grandfather of all that stuff. So I love it as well. Just don't mess it up, or I'm gonna be very mad. That's really it.
Yeah, that's where I kind of like, maybe I should leave it. Like, maybe this is one we should leave well enough alone. And, you know, we had Final Fantasy Tactics. We had FFTA2 on handhelds. Let's do a Final Fantasy Tactics 3. Like, let's leave the first one alone and just give me another Ivalice story. Like, let's do it in the same, all that stuff. And yeah, like maybe that's what I want more than a Tactics remaster. So I'm not saying I'm not going to buy it. I'm not saying I'm not going to play it. I will absolutely be buying it and playing it, but I'm going to go with leave it in favor of a new game. I don't even care if it's in the same world with, you know, the same characters, even if you want to put it in a time period there's like right after FFTA and TA2. I kind of feel like let's leave this one alone and let's do a new Tactics, absolutely. But I don't need that same story and changes to existing or previously existing systems that possibly screw it up, and then I'm just disappointed in the product instead. I'm going to leave it in favor of a new one, I think.
Totally fair.
Totally fair. Totally 100% fair. That's the way we roll here. Speaking of the way we roll here, chat, don't go anywhere. Right after this show, we're going to roll right into a stream with Ms. Faye Death. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
I can't complain. You got the hair all different colors now. This is what we could not see under the Beetlejuice outfit last week, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha. You looked great. Your costume was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Your costume was awesome. You were playing a little spooky game, a little Aliens Isolation last week. So what are we doing this week? Are we headed back in?
Yeah, we're gonna continue the spook times. Just because Halloween is over doesn't mean it still can't be a little spooky in here. So we're back to it.
I told you in chat,
it is
we didn't one
far
of
enough.
Like if you're an Aliens fanatic, you have to play it. Like there's so many bad Aliens games, support the good ones. So you gotta play this one.
More love for the good ones.
I know. You got to give them love. So, chat, don't go anywhere. Right after the show, we'll go dark for a few seconds, relabel everything for Faye. and then she'll be back live. We'll be back live with another episode of the Relic Grind next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. I don't want the music yet. Until then, Kronos, where can everybody find you?
Same as always, Twitter, with one caveat. I'm actually doing Extra Life this Saturday with some friends. We're doing a 24-hour stream for the Richmond Children's Hospital here in Virginia. I'm playing Street Fighter 4, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and Hades. So that should be fun. And
Hades is such a good game.
Yeah, it's amazing. So hopefully I can stay up for 24 hours without passing out because I'm getting old. So we'll see how that goes. But it should be a good time. And if you want any of the information, it's all on my Twitter. So
awesome. Go support him. Go support him for a great cause. What about you, Tark?
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming. Again, my first full YouTube video should be out tomorrow. Look out for that. Other than that, we're working on Bahamut back at 6 o'clock Pacific tomorrow. So tune in for that.
Fantastico. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there on Twitter at MagicMan1. But more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO on Twitter. And we'll let you know every time we go live with one of our podcast shows, one of our volunteer streamers, board games, video games, you name it. It's all here. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.